Hey everyone, Jake here for ExtremeTerrain, and in this video we're taking a look at the MBRP Armor Pro single side exit exhaust system with the polished tip, fitting 2024 and newer Tacomas without the factory leaf springs. This system is going to be for the new gen Tacoma owner who's looking for that T304 stainless steel build quality with great sound, classic good looks, and tolerable volume for a really affordable price. This is a full 3-inch catback that's really going to wake up your truck, but it's not going to cost you a ton of money. On our loudness meter, we're going to give this a very reasonable 3 out of 5. So if you're looking for outright volume, this is not going to be your system. But it is a noticeable improvement in volume and tone versus your stock system, though it's not going to get you angry letters from your homeowners association. MBRP's offerings in the exhaust space are some of my favorites because they offer you about the best sound you can get for your money. And this particular system really exemplifies that ethos. This is a full catback system, so it is going to replace your factory mufflers and resonators, leaving you with just this one canister muffler and this little resonator at the back. This one is MBRP's street profile, so it's going to be a bit more subdued in comparison to some other options out there. However, it's still going to give you quite a bit more sound and a better tone as well. Although if we're being honest, that's really not a hard thing to do because these trucks really don't have any exhaust sound from the factory. So this one is going to be a noticeable improvement over the stock system. It's certainly deeper and you get a lot more grumble coming out of the pipe than you do in your stock form. And I really think it gives the truck a much needed injection of, well, attitude. Still, not going to blow out your eardrums as you heard in the clips at the start of the video, making it a great fit for a daily driven truck. Now, more noise outside of course leads to more noise inside of the cabin. But again, as you heard from those clips at the start of the video, this one really isn't all that loud. You can take your truck on a long road trip, you can drive it every day, you can sit in traffic, it's not gonna grate on your nerves. Now, since this is again a full 3-inch catback exhaust, it is larger than stock, and that's gonna help increase airflow and also reduce back pressure. And that is really important, especially in turbocharged engines like these. Now, there are a lot less restrictions right here, as you can see in the muffler. Less restrictions in the system is a good thing because that means the exhaust gases can flow better and faster. That can help your truck make some additional horsepower and torque and also improve its response. So when you put your foot down, it's going to take a little less time for that turbo to spool up. Now, we're not talking huge power numbers here as we wouldn't with any exhaust, but if you pair this with some other breather mods, maybe an intake, maybe a tune a little further down the road, you can get some extra oomph out of your truck. Now, when it comes to the tip, this system does exit in the same location as your stock exhaust, so it's going to come out right behind the driver's side rear wheel. But you get a nice visual update here in the form of this 5-inch polished / cut tip. Now, I would call this a vast improvement versus what you get stock, and I think it sets the rear end of the truck off quite well. It's nothing too wild, but it's a noticeable improvement in keeping with the overall theme of this system. The big ticket item here though is the construction. This entire system is made using 3-inch mandrel bent T304 grade stainless steel. T304 is about the best you can get, and it's going to give you lots of protection against corrosion and rust. That tip we were talking about earlier is also T304, and it's that 5-inch diameter dual wall / cut design. So this is going to look good for a long time to come as well. And everything here is just pretty nice. You can see the welds here on this little resonator are quite nice. Everything is of good quality as we've come to expect from MBRP, except with this one, you get some better materials and it's going to last you a little bit longer. As always though, pricing might be the best part. This whole system is only going to run you about $950. And while yes, I acknowledge that that is still quite a bit of money, it is the least expensive T304 stainless catback on the market for this gen of Tacoma. And I think that's really saying something. If you wanted to get this kind of sound or material quality, you'd have to step up to a noticeably more expensive exhaust in most cases. So for the sound and the value proposition that this one provides, I really can't find anything to fault with it. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you about 2 hours to complete. This is of course a full bolt-on system. It doesn't require you to make any modifications to the truck itself. So you're going to utilize all the factory exhaust hanger locations, and it comes with all the clamps that you need to get this together. And as I always say, exhaust can be a little finicky just because working underneath your truck can be a tight squeeze if you're not using a lift. However, this is definitely a job that you can tackle at home, and we're going to walk you through the process right now. So for that, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact, 3/8 extension, a 15 and 14 millimeter socket, an exhaust hanger tool, a deburring tool, a tape measure, a marker, an 8 millimeter Allen wrench, and also not shown, be a cutting tool. All right, today we're going to be installing an exhaust on our Tacoma, so let's get started. All right, so we're going to start taking our factory exhaust off by working at the back and working our way forward. So we have our first flange here that's right in front of our rear axle. We're going to grab our impact and 14mm socket and take these two nuts off. All right, now that those are off, this will allow us to remove our tailpipe. So we just have a couple hangers to hold our tailpipe section on. So we're going to grab our exhaust hanger tool and pop our first one off here at the flange. And we just have our hanger in the rear here to support your exhaust. And you can pull the tail section out. Next, we're going to come up to our next flange. So this is in front of our main muffler. We have two spring bolts here. Same thing, impact and 14mm socket. Take those two out. Now that those are out, we have three hangers on our muffler that we'll take off. All right, so we have our one hanger in the rear and then we have two in the front of the muffler. So we're going to use our hanger tool. Pop them off. Make sure you are supporting the exhaust because it will fall. All right, and we just take our two in the front off. And set this aside. All right, so now we have our last two spring bolts on our front flange. Same thing, we're going to put an extension on our 14mm socket to get those out. And then this is just held on two hangers, one here, one here. Pop those off. Pull front pipe out of the way. All right, now for our truck, since we have the 5-foot bed, our mid pipe will need to be cut. Now the mid pipe is the S-curve pipe after the front flange pipe and before the muffler. So we're gonna need to cut 13.2 inches off of the end of our mid pipe. As you can see, we already have it marked and already did that. So now that you have it marked, you have it marked all the way around. We're gonna go to our saw and cut that section off. Okay, now that we have this set up, we can go ahead and cut it. All right, now after you get done cutting it, you're going to want to make sure that you deburr the edge of the metal here because it will have a bunch of sharp edges. You can use any kind of tool. We have a whiz wheel here with a sanding disc that just helps clean the inside and outside edges up. Now that you have that done, we can start installing our exhaust. Next, we're going to get our front pipe here with our flange. We're going to feed it up over our cross member first. And then we can get our rear hanger in here if we can. If you need to, you can take it off the top. So this one just popped off. Nice and easy. Then we have also our front hanger here. Get it up over our cat. Then we're just gonna loosely thread in our spring bolts. We'll come back later and tighten everything up. But next we can get our mid pipe on. So to put our mid pipe on, we're gonna put our hanger up first. So you'll see the hanger with two points. We're gonna go into where our front muffler went in and just slide them on like that. Now you can adjust this later if it needs to go forward or backwards. But we're gonna throw one of our clamps on there. Just gonna squeeze it so that the nut is exposed and just slide it so it locks up in that groove there. I'm gonna grab our mid pipe, put our clamp over first. All the clamps are the same size. They are all 3-inch. We can put that through our hanger here and then on our front pipe. Just like that. Now we have our muffler go on. Now the front flange will go over this clamp here. And then we have another clamp to go on the back. So it's just a little bit of towards maneuvering. We'll get that on, let that rest. Then we'll put the clamp on the back. Just like that. Our next piece is our over the axle pipe. We're gonna get that into position, and we have two hangers, one here and one here. So get it into our back of our muffler. Just like that. So we just have our last little muffler section. We're gonna put our clamp over first. And then we have our hanger right here that we're gonna go into also. Slide it into our over the axle pipe. All right, now we can go ahead and tighten everything. We're gonna start at the front, work our way backwards. So we're gonna start at the front at our flange, grab our impact, extension, and 14mm socket, and tighten these two spring bolts down. Now you wanna go back and forth on them so you don't pull it weird. You wanna tighten them down evenly. All right, we have our first clamp at the front of our mid pipe, so we're gonna grab our impact and 15mm socket, tighten that down. Just wanna make sure you orient it correctly. Don't point it up towards the drive shaft, basically. Then we have our one that's on our hanger in front of the muffler. You'll see that the muffler is slid into the clamp. We just tighten that all the way down. We have our clamp at the back of our muffler here. And then our last clamp here above our axle. Last thing we need to do is put our tip on. You'll see there is an 8mm Allen bolt. So once you get that positioned where you would like, just go ahead and use your Allen wrench and tighten that down. And that wraps up our install of our MBRP Armor Pro single exhaust system with a polished tip and side exit for our 2024 and newer Tacoma without leaf springs. And remember, for everything Tacoma, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.